Great. So this is a video response to David Weston Philosophy on YouTube. And he's been making a video recently about the Zeitgeist movement. And I think it's pretty interesting, so I thought I'd make a little video response while I'm on the bus here. Now, Zeitgeist is an interesting movement. They want to get rid of money across the world. The idea is about the Zeitgeist, which is the culture. It's kind of like the kind of collective consciousness throughout the world, like what people think and what they believe about society. The idea is that since humans make society, then why not just make any society we want to, right? Since we're the ones that make it. Right? Couldn't we have a society without money such that there wouldn't be starving people? Especially when there's so many people right now that are doing so well, they're living well above the standard of living. Why do we have other people that are, actually starving to death? And so, David talks about, he feels it's like idealistic to try and think this way. But this conversation is so important. I don't want to diminish anybody's idealism, right? Because it's certainly not an easy task, but the way we're going to get to a better society is by talking, through having these conversations on the internet, in person, on YouTube, whatnot, so that, we can bounce ideas around and see what works and what doesn't work. Now, there's certainly some, I don't mean to diminish idealism, but there's some, difficulties to creating a utopian society that we'll get into a little bit today. I don't want to use the word impossible, but there are certainly some impossibility theorems. Some people that believe that making a utopia would be impossible. However, the Zeitgeist is also inevitable, so that's kind of a paradox there, that this thing is impossible and it's inevitable. And the reason for the inevitability, I think David mentioned technology a couple times, but to really put the nail on the hammer is to say that it's automation, right? The automation started back, we started doing factories, and that put a lot of people that were seamstresses out of work and started making the clothes in the textiles. People had to go to factories, which took a lot less labor. So automation creates new jobs as it destroys jobs, but it often doesn't create as many jobs as it destroys. And then the jobs it does create are more technical, take more education. So it's an interesting thing. Like, started with the factories and the textiles. Then it moved into fields and farming. We had big farm machines that started making the farmers work less. People had to move to the cities again. And then after that was, it first started making all these factories, and then started taking the factories away, making these robots that worked in the factories. And then we lose all the factory jobs. They get shipped overseas somewhat, but often just automated, just done by robots, put all this stuff together, which made everybody move into the service industry. And now we have these computers that are being able to do services. So it's tricky, what will we do when the automation puts us all out of work, when everything is automated and we can't have the system of money anymore? So that's kind of the good news, but now let's focus on the problems, on why it's not so easy to just create whatever society you want to. Now, on his website, and I think he also said it in the video, David's idea for distribution, he breaks it down into like distribution and criminal justice and sex, and he kind of hits a bunch of main points of society and kind of gives a couple sentences on how we might do it better. Now, what he says about distribution is that he wants to distribute goods evenly across the globe. Now, David, I don't think we're supposed to take you literally on that, because if we did, what you're saying is that we're going to put vacuum cleaners in the middle of the ocean, right? Or in the desert where there's no people. So we don't want to do it evenly across the globe. You know, there's cities where people get together. You want to send more goods and services to cities. I think what you're trying to say is you want to distribute goods and services equally between all people. Okay, and this is going to have some issues as well, of course. So I guess we'll get into the potato problem. This is actually called the, it's one of the social planner problems. And the social planner is an idea we economists use it's an idea of like a benevolent dictator that has superpowers. It has the power to be able to understand what people's preferences are, and it also has a superpower to be able to distribute these goods and services however it wants to amongst the people. Okay? Now, this potato problem is going to have one good, it's potatoes, but we're going to have 4 different economic agents, 4 different people that are kind of just mathematical equations that are representing people, that are utility functions. See, people, David uses the word greed, and I don't know if I want to use that word. Some people are certainly greedy and whatnot, but everybody is unique, and so everybody has a unique preference structure, right? Like, we like things differently. I might like white sunglasses more than you like white sunglasses, and so then I buy them with my money. So here we've got potatoes and 4 people. The first person I'm going to call Hythlode, and Hythlode has 4 potatoes, and he likes them. He gets 1 unit of happiness, 1 Hythlode happiness from the potato. So we've got in our system so far 4 units of happiness from the 4 potatoes that Hythlode has, for which he gets 1 unit of happiness for each potato. Okay. Now nobody else, the other 3 people, they don't have any potatoes. Okay. So they're not getting any happiness regardless of how happy potatoes would make them. But the first guy, he likes potatoes on a relative scale half as much as Hythlode. So he has 1/2 Hythlode unit of happiness per potato. Okay, so if you give him 2 potatoes, we'll have 1 unit of happiness, right? Now he doesn't start with any potatoes. We could give some of the potatoes from Hythlode to this guy if we wanted to. Now the next guy doesn't like potatoes at all. This guy's called in Mendham, and in Mendham doesn't like potatoes, we're going to say, and so he gets 0 units of Hythlode happiness compared to Hythlode's scale of happiness per potato. You can give him potatoes all day long, he's not going to get any happier, he doesn't like potatoes. Now, the 4th guy in Event of Harvest, he really loves potatoes. He's just like potato maniac. In fact, it's not me being so sure that he likes potatoes so much that he loves rubbing it over people's faces when he has potatoes. It's like, ooh, I got potato when you ain't got none. Potato. He's just a jerk about it. He's like, potato, 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 potato. So, you know, that's not very cool, but he gets big happy out of it. Every potato you give him, he gets 2 units, twice as much happiness as Hythlode does per potato. Okay, so we've got 4 potatoes, we've got 4 people. We could distribute them evenly, right? Hythlode gets 1 potato, and then David Weston, who gets half a unit of happiness per potatoes, he gets 1 potato. In Mendham, who doesn't like potatoes at all, he gets a potato. And in Men of Harvest, he gets a potato. He's like, oh yeah, I got a potato. So, you know, we can calculate the units of happiness in the system and whatnot and see how people are doing. But the thing is, right, there's some dead weight loss here because we've given a potato to in Mendham who doesn't like potatoes. So, that potato is generating no happiness in our system. I'm hoping this makes sense because usually I use some kind of visual aid. I'm on the bus, I don't have visual aid, so you have to kind of maybe write it down, like draw the 4 potatoes, draw each person, what their number is for happiness potatoes, right? First person, 1 unit, second person, half a unit, third person, no happiness for potatoes, and fourth person, 2 units of happiness for potatoes, okay? Well, let's say we use another strategy. Instead of dividing them evenly, we'll try and maximize happiness, okay? In which case we'll give all 4 potatoes to inventive harvest, right? And that is the most happiness you can get out of the system, right? You give all 4 potatoes of all potatoes to inventive harvest, you get 8 units of happiness. You can't do better than that in the system. But it seems kind of bogus. Other people like potatoes too. Why are we going to give inventive harvest all the potatoes when he's just going to be a jerk about it, right? Potato, 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 you know? So there's that. You know, we can try and equalize happiness, like everybody gets the same amount of happy per potato. Now, notice the guy, you know, David Weston, who gets half a unit of happiness per potato, right? That means we will give him twice as many potatoes as Hythlo Day and 4 times as many potatoes as Inventive Harvest, even though they both like potatoes better, right? And it doesn't matter how many potatoes we give in Mendham. He doesn't like potatoes. We'll never get any units of happiness out of in Mendham. So you can give him an infinite amount of potatoes and you'll still never achieve the same unit of happiness through all the people. So that's just kind of a simple problem. It gets more complex from there. There's a really complex one called Victory Clark Grove, which is an impossibility theorem where it says you can't have a system of distribution such that people won't trade afterwards. If the distribution is good, the people are happy with what they get, so they don't go trading with other people afterwards. That they'll be honest about their preferences. And the third one is that the law will participate in the system, right? If they can do better by not participating in the system, then they won't, and then they'll go somewhere else. You know, they'll go outside the system, and so therefore your system won't be inclusive. It won't include all the people. So I don't want to diminish your idealism. I want you to help work on these problems. You know, I certainly don't believe in the word impossibility. You know, I think there is a lot of truth to the idea of we can make whatever society we want to. We can certainly make a better society. And you seem interested. Now, you called watching the Zeitgeist movie research, and it is certainly learning, but I wouldn't call it research. But I would certainly encourage more learning. I would encourage you to watch lectures of actual economics, some economic classes, to see what people who have really, you know, thought about these issues very in-depthly, how to think about it. Economic classes really help you put your ideas down into drawings, into graphs, into visual representations, and into math equations, so that you can express yourself mathematically and specifically. I think it's a great skill to have, and plus, I think we need people that are ideal, that are looking to improve things rather than just sitting back. Anyways, if you want more information, I'll be happy to make another video if you ask me to or whatnot. Go back and forth. I'm happy to answer any questions you have if you hadn't watched any of these classes on YouTube about economics. Anyways, that's all for now. Thanks for your time.